I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. It. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
All right, welcome into another edition of the Daily Puck Drop. It is Friday, January 31st, 10 a.m., right at the start of the show. Appreciate you watching on YouTube, on X, if you're watching it live, on the Puck Sports mobile app, because that is up and running there as well. And, of course, if you are watching and listening to later's show, YouTube, please subscribe when you're there. Also, Apple, Spotify, wherever your favorite podcast platform is. All right, coming up on today's Friday's edition of the Daily Punch Up, Jorge Polanco. Dry January's finally over. Lofa Tatupu coming up in about 20 minutes. Chris Egan coming up at 10:50. And, of course, Hey, What the Puck. We're also going to cover a bet that I may lose. But, ladies and gentlemen, it's a Friday. And that means the go-to guy is here, Jim Moore. And again, on a location to be determined. Again, this guy you have never done consecutive shows in the same spot. Where do we find you on a Friday now?
Well, that's going to change next week because we're finally going to be in our house there in Bend. But no, I'm in Eugene. I'm in downtown Eugene. I think it's downtown. Valley River Inn. I've always heard about this place because all the teams stay here, whether they're playing in Corvallis or Eugene. And it's fantastic, right on the river, but a little too much excitement for us last night. Took the dogs out. They started barking at something that we couldn't quite see in the dark, and it was actually a beaver that had come out of the Mackenzie River and was over in a dumpster. And then the dogs were getting in a fight with this beaver. I thought it was a raccoon. God, I was just screaming, River, no, Sky, no, no, no. And the beaver was turning on him, and I thought, well, shit, the beaver will probably kick my dog's ass. And so anyway, we got sticks out, and we were trying to fend off the beaver, and God, it's like, can I just have a boring day, like just one boring day without a bunch of bullshit happening? God, my heart rate was going up. I've got high blood pressure as it is, and it was pretty... It was a freaking beaver. I've never seen a beaver in the wild. I mean, that close.
I have not. So who ended up winning the fight?
Well, and then, for the people who think, well, God, you should have your dogs on a leash. You know what? You guys are right. Because last night, if I'd had the dogs on a leash, that wouldn't have happened. And then we didn't have leashes with us once we corralled them to put them on leashes, and they wanted to keep going back to the beaver. And yeah, the beaver was kind of feisty, though.
Well, I mean, come on. Did the beaver have a chainsaw?
No, there wasn't a chainsaw.
What if the beaver came out of the dam with
He just wasn't. Okay, can I be honest with you about something? I was kind of
No, I'd rather you lie to me.
Well, you're the man in the house, right? And when you're married, and then there's a woman in the house too. And when you're the man in the house, you're supposed to take charge and hey, honey, I'll protect you.
It was the opposite, huh? She was protecting you.
She was going after the beaver. She was ready to fight the beaver, and I was like, beaver, please don't hurt me.
I have met your wife. I know your wife very, very well. That does not surprise me from Kathy.
Oh, God.
She's a go-getter.
Oh, my God.
And she's a duck, so she saw that beaver. She's like, F you, man. I'm going to take you apart.
Well, I was just trying to keep the dogs away from the beaver. And again, I thought it was a raccoon. And I know how feisty and mean raccoons can be.
Yeah.
And Sky and River would have lost a bout with a raccoon. Now, a beaver, they might have held their own. I don't know. But Kathy was over there she found a stick and she was poking the beaver and just trying to get the beaver away from our dogs.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Go Beavs, baby. Sean checking in on the chat saying go Beavs.
Yeah, go Beavs is right. Yeah. I know. That was a feisty, angry Beav last night. Yeah. And he was just trying to have a meal over there at the dumpster, a free meal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just we disturbed him.
Yeah, you did. All right. We are off on the Beaver Show of record today. I'm broadcasting from the Puck Sports Studios, of course, built by Limbeck Lumber. Contractors, they're coming for you. And you do-it-yourselfers. They offer free deliveries for both. They've got the largest stock moldings in the Northwest as well. Old school service because they've been doing it with a handshake, a smile, and paper receipts since 1930. Hugh Millen once worked there as a shell job, just like other Husky football players were working there as a shell job. Give them a call, 206-782-3487. Visit them online at limbacklumber.com. Jim is weekly or 3 times a week visits from places, parts unknown, brought to you by...
You always make it sound like I'm unreliable, that I'm not going to show up, and then when I do, that something will go wrong. I don't appreciate that. I'd appreciate more support from you on that.
What did you say? I can't hear you. Hey,
fuck you.
I can't hear
that?
you. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to leave, man. I'm sorry. I can't hear you.
Yeah. Kiss my ass, Puck. Okay. I know you can hear that too. I'm brought to you by a Clean Streak, Brian Turner's company up there in Oak Harbor, professional window and exterior cleaning service. And, I've talked a lot about what they can do for you, roof cleaning, gutter cleaning, pressure washing, but how about the window washing part? He's got an experienced crew. They allow you to enjoy the benefits of crystal clear windows without the risk of injury that comes with trying to do it yourself. So give them a call or visit them at acleanstreak.com. You can also dial them up at 360-395-5748. That's 360-395-5748 and get your free estimate today.
Okay, dry January is almost over. Reggie Frederick checking in on the chat. Of course, proud owner, operator of the Chalet Bowl Bowling Alley. Of course, brings you Ryan Divish every single week. By the way, the Ryan Divish episode up for Puck's Posse members. By the way, join now today for just $5. Get the full 55-minute sit-down interview there with Ryan Divish. We did not cover Jorge Polanco this week because none of us thought that Jorge Polanco was a fucking option for the team. All right, how many over/under drinks tomorrow since it's over tonight?
I would say probably 4.5. And I'm not, I normally wouldn't be drinking that much. And it's not because, oh my God, February 1st is here. I can't wait to drink again, which I can't wait to have a drink again, but not multiple. But I think our real estate agent is coming over tomorrow night. And so we'll be celebrating with her the sale of the house and all that. And she bought us one of those. I'm not big into champagne. I don't know if you are. I can't tell the difference between, a cheap champagne and a good bottle, but apparently she bought us a $100 bottle of champagne like that Moet or whatever the hell.
Moet, yes, sure.
Yeah.
Nice, beautiful. You'll love it. It's good. Great champagne. Champagne's wonderful.
You can tell the difference between a good one and a bad one?
I think a bad one's is gonna give you a headache really quick, and it's gonna be too sweet.
Well, I don't know. I kind of like the sweeter ones, like the Asti Spumani stuff, more than. Of course. Well, apparently a dry champagne is better than a sweet one.
You've always had a sweet tooth. Over/under has been set at 8.
Nah.
8. You think you're going to go under that?
I think I'll go under that, Reggie.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a coog who hasn't had a drink for 31 days, but.
Are you going to wait? Are you going to wait until midnight to have a drink?
What do you think?
I think yes. I think you're going to wait. I think you're going to wait till 12:01 and have your drink.
What, you think I'm going to actually – I'm 67 years old. Do you think I'll be up at midnight?
I don't know. Maybe you're a night owl. I have no idea.
Well, no. When you get older, you're not really night owlish as much as you used to be. Yeah. Like usually I'm asleep by 10:30 or 11.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to be looking at my clock or looking at my phone going – God, 11:59. Come on, 11:59 and 30 seconds.
I don't know. The way that you've been operating lately, I wouldn't be surprised. Hey, what is Jeff wants to know, I think you already said it. What's your first drink going to be?
Well, I'm thinking about going to El Rodeo on 3rd Avenue there in Bend. They make a good jumbo margarita. They sometimes, some of these places put too much ice in there. And you're already paying $14 for it, just put the right amount of ice and the right amount of cocktail in there, and I'm good to go. And that El Rodeo Jumbo Margarita, I think I'll go for that.
Okay. You feel good about yourself? You feel better? Do you feel healthier that you've gone? And let me be the first one to say, I think the courage and the strength and the commitment that you have shown these past 31 days, I don't want that to be forgotten.
Yeah. So why do I sense sarcasm in the tone of your voice? I mean, it sounds like you're full of shit telling me what you just told me, that you're not being sincere. This honestly ranks right up there with one of my greatest accomplishments ever. My greatest accomplishment in my life to this point has been running a marathon at the age of 29. I ran one marathon, 3 hours and 48 minutes. It was 9-minute mile average. I'm damn proud of that. This one, I'm not as proud of that. as the marathon.
But
right you know what there. The hell? You set a goal and you accomplish it. And but I'm with you though. I'm kind of tired of talking about it. People don't like hearing about it. It's like, okay, January. It's good. Dry January is a tired topic, and everybody seems to be doing it. So I don't want to belabor the point, but I am proud of myself for doing it. But do I feel better? Not really. I haven't really. It hasn't really changed me that much. I still wake up and go. Like yesterday, I fell on some ice. I was out hiking with the dogs, and I'm like laying on this ice on the trail going, fuck, Jim, Jesus, you're old, man. I even told myself when I was walking a slight decline, I'm going, okay, be careful here. It's pretty icy, Jim. Come on, be careful. And then down I went. But yeah, so I'm not, where was I going with that? Did I have a point? I forget. But no, I'm not going to be getting hammered. And the other goal I have is to not throw up in my 60s. I've thrown up in every other decade of my life, and I don't want to throw up in my 60s. So I got to keep that in mind if I'm drinking.
I love how one of your goals in life is that in every decade is to not throw up from drinking.
Yeah.
Boy, well, I don't know if we don't. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. I don't know if we should put a video, put that on a T-shirt for someone to maybe, I don't know, stop from drinking.
Well, come on, Puck. I mean, think about it. Okay, so like 0 to 10, I didn't throw up. Okay, when I was 0 to 10 years old.
Well, from drinking.
Correct.
Well, and again, that's another accomplishment that I do want to pat you on the back, that you did not throw up from the age of 0 to 10.
Yeah.
Good on you to push away from the Boone's farm at 9. Because, I can imagine when you were sitting in there in that 4th grade class probably going, man, I'm going to tell you what, Bobby, this fucking subtraction and additions it's got me wanting a Jim Beam right when we get done from here. Hey, we're going to walk home. We're going to jump on our bikes. We're going to hit the liquor store, and we're going to get some Jim Beam. Meet me out back. Good for you.
Well, okay, fine. That was pretty funny, actually.
Okay, so every decade,
but every decade since then, I've thrown up until this decade.
Okay, yeah. Good for you. Well, and you got 5 more years for this decade.
Yeah, I got to admit though, when you're throwing up because you drank too much alcohol when you're 54 years old, like I did down in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Mid puke, I was telling myself, "Come on, Jim, you got to get it together, man. You're checking the boxes for being an alcoholic when you're puking in your 50s."
Yeah, one would, one for normal people, reality would have hit probably at that point.
I think so. Yeah. That's pretty bad, though, isn't it? But the booze was free, and I was on a golf trip, and I was talking to a guy yesterday about this, and just because something's free doesn't mean you have to just have one after another, but there's something about free alcohol that you can't help yourself.
You just have to keep going and going and going. Well, all right. Hey, did it cause you, when you saw the news yesterday that Jorge Polanco is back, did it cause you to say, man, I've made it 30 days. Why don't I just have one right now? Because Jorge Polanco is back. Come on. Now, that is a championship move. What do you think of Jorge Polanco coming back? I've been excited about the start of the baseball season, Jim. It's getting closer and closer. We're about 2 weeks away from pitchers and catchers reporting. My favorite, saying to you is I've got my pants off now even more than ever that Jorge Polanco is back.
You got the cigarettes going too?
Cigarettes, everything. Just, I'm a chain smoking, double fisting.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I thought was, is that a burner account that somebody's just, joking around? And then I thought, this is like the Mitch Haniger move, that they're bringing Mitch Haniger back. Is that another fake deal? And then I couldn't help but think about those eyes.
Oh, Puck. The eyes get me. That's what's It makes me so nervous every time I see him.
He sees a ghost at all times.
I don't know what it is, but it freaks me out. And then I can't take my eyes off of his eyes.
He doesn't
look at this. Hold on, I'm going to share this one. It just freaks me out. I don't mean to be weird, but look at that. That just freaks me out.
Oh, I know. It
just makes me like, ah.
But. Well, and then the other part of it is like, how many players have ever been declined an option and then come back to that team? obviously
and he's going to get the same amount of money. That's the best part. He's going to, if he hits his incentives, they didn't save any money. His option was $12 million.
He's going to end up making $12 million if he hits the incentives?
Yep, because there's a report. Okay, so it was $12 million. So his deal is $7.75 million, right? Well, there's a report out there based on incentives is another $3.5 million. It's another $3 million plus. He's going to hit the freaking. He's going to basically make what he was going to make last year had they just picked it up.
And isn't it pretty clear that no one else wanted him if he came back to Seattle after Seattle told him that they didn't want him by not picking up his option?
Well, because he didn't have any options. Zero.
Right.
Zero options. And then also the Mariners didn't have any options. And yes, someone said, that's right. If he hits his incentives, that means he's playing well then, right? Yes, of course that means he's playing well. So we'll see if he hits his incentives. But again, $7.75 million. I mean, they have got money now. Okay, they've got money locked up. Next season, Polanco, Haniger, and Garver, they have a combined $37.7 million locked up into those three players. And these three players last year gave you a slash line of this. Polanco, 213, 296, 355, 651. Haniger, 208, 286, 334, 620. And Mitch Garver, 172, 286, 341, 627.
Yeah. And on top of that, we're asking a guy who's only played 24 games at third base to be your starting third baseman.
And that's the one that I don't get the most. Hold on. Time out. I'm glad you brought that up. Because I'm going to say what to the audience what I said to you and some guy named do we have to protect his name now? His identity?
Oh. No.
Okay, Ian Furness. So Ian will probably use this later today too, because he's watching right now. Hi, Ian. How are you? Good to hear you. Good to see you.
Yeah, that cracking pre and post game show. Awesome.
Yeah,
Allison Lucan.
It could be better.
Allison Lucan, though, she's a little better than Ian, but
it could be better. There's some things
they need Benton on that.
Yeah, there's some things I would do to improve the Kraken pregame, and
can you give me a Mike Benton for old time's sake?
No, that's softy.
Mike Benton!
Gentlemen, I'm here at the Kraken complex, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but my backpack is from Eddie Bauer. So is my blazer.
I'm going to Dick's for a Dick's Deluxe.
Afterwards, I'm going to go to Dick's, and I'm going to get a cheeseburger and a deluxe. #ad.
What are your thoughts on the Kraken loss tonight? I'm a wise ass on that. I always respond to it. Do they need a new coach? Should they get rid of so-and-so?
So here's my point that we talked about earlier. Does everyone remember watching Jorge Polanco last year, how much he struggled throwing from second base to first base? So riddle me this. I'm not a smart man. I played a little baseball back in the day like you, Jim. Tell me how a guy who couldn't throw from second to first is all of a sudden now going to make the throw from third to first.
Well, I'm not sure how to answer that, and I would agree with you on being skeptical that that's going to work out well for the Mariners. But Jerry Dipoto, when he discusses that for the first time, imagine what he's going to say. An athletic guy who can make the transition. He's played it before.
Athletic.
When he was in the Dominican or wherever, he played it successfully back in 2012, and we think that he can make that transition. You're so sick of the Mariners too with that back of the baseball card bullshit they always bring up. If he could just play like he did in 2021. Well, no, we just saw him more recently at the age of 31 play like he did last year. Yeah, but that was because of injuries. Well, what makes you think he's not going to be injury prone at 32 less than he was at 31?
That's my biggest thing, and I understand it. And you know what? I'll go along with the people for a little bit. Say, he was playing through a major knee injury last year, and so give him some credit for gutting it out. Okay, all right. Well, he just had major offseason surgery on his knee at 32 or 31, and it would happen in October. So you're telling me he's going to be great? I mean, who knows how he's going to react to the knee surgery? Who knows?
Well, and then it's supposedly going to be better because you don't have to have as much range at third base than you do at second base.
Which I totally understand. I get that. I get that part of it. What I don't get is I watched a guy play second base last year who couldn't throw to first. He couldn't throw the first.
Yeah.
So how is he going to throw from third to first?
Well,
Unless someone's going to tell me, no, it's just, it's a harder throw from second to first.
well, and then, but then Puck, and then also, like, I was even thinking, well, okay, Polanco at second, that might still be better than Dylan Moore, Rivas, and Miles Master Bader, whatever. Fuck,
It's Master Boney, Master Big Boney. Come on, get his.
I looked up.
Right.
I Wikipedia'd that guy. He hit 194 for the Cubs last year.
Did you throw in Ryan Bliss in there?
Oh, Ryan Bliss. I do like Ryan Bliss. I do like
Why?
him.
Why do people like Ryan Bliss?
I don't know. I just feel like when they made the trade with Atlanta, that was really the jewel that they were trying to get.
I'm going to have someone come on next week that's going to tell you that Ryan Bliss is not good.
But, like, you've got a bunch of utility guys that are trying to be starters at second base. Who wins World Series with that? You got JP hitting 200 at shortstop and is an average defensive guy. And then you got Bug Eyes over there at third now.
Yeah, we got it. I got Lofa's waiting right now in the green room, but I do before we get to Lofa, and then after we talk to, it's our final visit with Lofa. We're going to talk about Pete. We're going to talk about Kubiak, Seahawks offseason, and then he's going to be doing deep dives in some of these draft picks, I think, this year. But here's your lineup. I want you to think about this, and then we'll talk to Lofa, and then when Lofa's done, we'll circle back, as they like to say, right? Here's your lineup: Cal Raleigh at catcher, Luke Raley at first, Dylan Moore at second, J.P. Crawford at short, Jorge Polanco at third, Randy's in left, Julio's in center, Victor Robles is in right. Your DH is a combo of the Mitches and Donovan Solano.
Yeah. And who can you count on in that lineup? What, Julio and Cal? Right. A Rosarena, maybe?
No, I think you nailed it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. He joins us right now. He's got the Savage Brewing Company sweatshirt on. Lofa Tatupu, former Seahawks great linebacker. His appearance brought to you by 1937 Farms. Family-owned and operated craft cannabis tucked away in the Snoqualmie Valley. Hey, if you have dry January and smoke weed, does that count? Still having a dry January? Don't answer yet. Let's ponder that for a quick second. Okay. Visit 1937farms.com. Follow them on Instagram. Also, Savage Brewing Company. Also, check out Lofa's All Day Podcast wherever you find all your podcasts. Lofa joins us from the Limback Lumber Studios. So, would we count that if you said, "Hey, I'm gonna smoke some weed here during January"? Does that count? I mean, it's technically not drinking, Lofa.
Exactly. It's isn't that's California sober or Seattle sober?
Yeah, Jim, did you have any edibles during this month?
Yeah, I had 3 edibles during the month. Just 3.
So I don't know.
There was one day when I wanted to have the whole damn canister. I can tell you that much.
So
my wife was a pain in the ass that day. Jesus Christ, it was just really bad.
Here we go. We don't need to get really deep into that.
Can I ask Lofa a question that I've always wanted to ask him, and it might be inappropriate, but I want to ask anyway. I used to have a buddy who, he'd get high before we'd go over to the gym there in Pullman, and he'd just play lights out. You know, he played better than when he was completely sober. I'm just wondering, your guesstimate on NFL players that, get high before games, how often does that happen? What's the percentage? Because guys, I knew a high school kid who played really well too when he was stoned before every game.
Yeah. Oh no, it definitely happens. But it's happened, and it will continue to happen. It's just it has an effect on some guys to really actually slow the game down visually and just be more in the moment. Because it's about balance, right? And yeah, sure, I've done it before. I didn't do it in the league. I did it when I was in high school. And, for quarterback, it helped me out. At linebacker, I didn't like it as much when I was a linebacker because, there I'm just trying to run and hit and kill. right?
Wait a
But
minute. You played quarterback in high school, and then you'd get high before a game, and it helped you play the position better.
I've done it a couple times. Yeah.
How'd you play?
I play well, and but since you play both, it's not really wasn't very productive for me on defense, which is where was my natural position. Like I felt like it slowed me down too much over there.
Yeah,
like
we got to find some old high school tape of you. Is there any old high school tape out there you got to send me that we can look at it and just see your play and tell us that was the game that I was ripping bong rips in the parking lot?
Yeah. see, it wasn't. See, that's the stigma we're still fighting. Is that's how everyone consumed cannabis.
How many guys in the Super Bowl do you think will be high?
There'll be a few from each team.
Really?
It's just it's really, I don't know, like it's almost in the sense of like aspirin or a pain reliever, right? It's like it helps them get into the moment and play better.
Do they smoke or do they take like an edible?
Oh, that's even a better point. Now people are probably taking edibles too, to really just focus and be there. But it's been going on forever, and it will continue to go on.
All I'm going to do watching the Super Bowl next week is just watching like in the second half when that edible kicks into one of those players. He took it before the game. Like it takes a couple hours and then bam, third quarter. This, Xavier Worthy is just like wandering in the backfield. I think it kicked in. I'm going to text you right when I see that happen.
The ball snapping, they're just standing there.
Yeah. Am I supposed to go? What am I doing? Hey, we'll get to Klint Kubiak, and we want the Seahawks offseason, kind of moves and all that kind of stuff. And just this has been a blast having you on during the football season, Lofa. What did you make your old college coach? He's back in the NFL. What do you make of Pete Carroll with the Raiders?
I predicted it. I called it a year ago. I said he would go back into coaching as soon as, because he was still getting paid by the Seahawks. So, and the timing of the announcement really wasn't great for him to go get another job. But I called it and I said he's definitely going to coach again, and so he's back in it. But then when the Raiders opened up, I said he went to Chicago, and I said they should get him. But as soon as I saw the Raiders, they said they're going to wait to hire the GM, which they didn't. They ended up getting Spytek and then getting Pete, right? But that kind of led me to, it was the same situation up here that Pete helped lead with the hiring of John Schneider, right? So I thought, okay, they're going to follow the whole formula in terms of like, everyone goes and gets the GM first and then gets the coach, but they were going to go and just do it the other way, which worked out pretty good up here. Like Pete and John, that was quite the tandem, and John's, still doing it at a high level. So, but I'm happy for Pete, and I wonder, it's hard to put a staff together as a first-time head coach, and then this is probably the last gig Pete's going to get. So, because most of your help in those in between years, they're all head coaches or coordinators. They've moved up, so it'll be interesting to see who joins them over there as a staff.
What about the quarterback situation there, Lofa? A lot of speculation. There might be a Russell Wilson reunion in store there in Vegas.
It could definitely happen. I think the Broncos are still paying the tab on one more year of $40 million. So will Russell take a $1 million deal base like he did in Pittsburgh? I doubt it. He still looked pretty good. So there's going to be other people probably looking for his service and at a higher price tag than $1 million. But I could see Russ going over there and joining forces with Pete again. And, in the meantime, drafting a quarterback and grooming one they have the biggest salary cap or second biggest. I think the Patriots are one and then they're two. That it looked like a better opportunity than let's say Chicago.
Hey, what their relationship, Loaf? I don't know how much you know. It just seemed like it really soured at the end. That there was just a lot of rumors and rumblings that hey, Russell just is kind of going to the ownership saying, hey, it's me or Pete. It just seemed like it ended really poorly. Do you? And I know when Pete was let go. There was a reunion or party for those players, and he was back, and there's a picture of them smiling together. And you know Pete obviously better than we do, and has this ability to mend fences and forgive. I wonder, though, how much he forgets, though, of maybe how that ended for him. Do you think they could mend fences and truly work together again if that were the option with Las Vegas?
Knowing them and their competitive nature and how they don't give a shit about anything but winning, yes, like they could join forces again and put the past behind them. I don't know what happened, but I know these are the two of the most competitive human beings I've ever been around, and they could let bygones be bygones and say, hey, we got one more chance at this, and we know how to do it, and let's build that culture and then go from there. And so how long would Russ be there? I don't know, but I could see them pairing up, and it could be a success in the immediate right now.
Boy, but look at that division that he's in. I mean, it's going to take a little while, isn't it? I mean, you don't just, well, I guess in the NFL you can go from 4-13 to 13-4 overnight, but boy, in that division it's going to be hard.
It's absolutely going to be hard. I mean, I don't think any division's easy, but. This will be Pete's fourth time, right? And every time, he got another coaching job, it just got better and better. And, the results came quicker and quicker. So I don't expect to take long. And I think he'll be the first, head coach of the Raiders in the last decade and a half that lasts more than a year. I think they're still paying 3 guys not to coach.
Wow.
Did you? What was your favorite press conference? Did you watch any of the press conferences? Did you see like the Schottenheimer one or the Liam Cohen one? I mean, they were just awful. Like, and that doesn't mean anything because like Nick Sirianni had like the worst press conference ever, and he's turned out to be a great coach. But
I was actually going to go there with Sirianni. I didn't watch theirs. I saw the other two. I saw the memes and the videos that people have been posting. The Duval chant.
Oh God, it was cringy.
But Sirianni, I remember there was one where they were on a horrible losing streak, and he was talking about he was likening building a team from like planting a seed, and it wasn't a smooth story. That was like the kind of like
it was awful.
Like well, he's losing everybody. Not just in the locker room, but in that media room. They're just like, what just happened? But look at the results. Yeah. Like he's a leader of men, and that's what and that's what you want, and you hope that they are authentic and just themselves, right? That's how you're going to succeed. But time will tell, and so we'll see. But yeah, I didn't see the whole. Is there more video I need to see from those?
There's just, I mean, the shot. I mean, I would sit back. I would have your favorite, product that you have there at 1937 Farms. I would sit back on the couch and I would just watch the hour-long Schottenheimer press conference. I mean, you've got everything.
What was it? Was it dull?
No. I mean, you got Jerry Jones is crying. First of all, it's a Jerry Jones press conference. Like Schottenheimer doesn't even talk basically. And then Jerry Jones just keeps saying, "We're going to take our shot with Shotty." It's just it's so bad. It's just bizarre. T-shirts. Oh, it's just such a bizarre press conference. Hey, we asked you about Russell in Las Vegas. What about Gino in Las Vegas?
Interesting. I mean, they have the cap to make the move, and Pete really attributed a lot of his success the last 2-3 years, or 2 years to Gino. So that could be a possibility too. But they're still going to have to. I like Aiden O'Connell, but they're going to have to make an assessment. Like Pete's going to have to go back and watch film on everybody, and then kind of talk to anybody left over in the building on what the personality and the culture, like, are they a competitor? Are they a winner? Or were they just kind of, when things went south, did they just kind of check out? Those are the things that Pete really does well in terms of when he gets into a building and builds the culture, is he finds out who they really are, the players, right? And so it was cool to see, Max Crosby show up, because that's the guy that, before Pete signed, it looked like everybody was like, oh, well, he's costing too much and we're not winning. So it's just one of those guys that we got to move and we'll get a bunch of draft picks for. But no, if he can get his buy-in, that team will go places very quickly.
Yeah, didn't we all look at him at those press conferences and go, Jesus, I hope I look like that at 73. I mean, do you think that he could coach till 80?
Easily. He's still, like, when I talk to him, he remembers things that I don't. And he's sharper than me, and just about certain games and situations. And then, yeah, he looks younger than he ever has. He's the Benjamin Button of coaching, man. He just keeps aging in reverse. Like,
well, yeah, but he's sharper than you because he hasn't been smoking his whole life like you have been.
That could be a possibility, or hit like I've been hit.
Well, that's true.
And who knows? We don't know if he hasn't been smoking. I don't know. Maybe that's how he keeps his just youthful vibe. Hey, he picks up the phone and says, "Hey, I'd like you to join my staff in Las Vegas. Would you do it?"
If he wants me to just watch film and find talent, I could do that.
You don't want to coach?
No, there's just too many hours. Like, and I loved it. But that was the only reason I stepped away. I don't know if I told you guys, my kids were 3 and 6 at the time, and I missed because at the time we had them for the football season. We have to have it around the schedule. We have to plan the pregnancies around that. So had one in February. Combine's always in February. Had one at end of July. Camp's already in July, end of July. So I missed the 3th and 4th and 6th and 7th birthdays. And I was like, you know what? This is when they're young. This is the only time they're ever going to listen to me. I can't, sacrifice this time with them. And then it'd be doing a disservice to not only the organization that I love, the Seahawks, and KJ and Bobby and these guys I'm coaching, because you can't be 2 places at once, right? Yeah. So I stepped away, and what, in a couple of years, maybe 2 or 3, when the kids don't want to hang out with dad's not cool anymore, then maybe I'll go back. But I always loved the evaluation process and like predicting, what a kid can be when you give them 2 or 3 years to develop. And I've done it. I don't want to toot my own horn, but found a couple Pro Bowlers undrafted, and that's how you get, generational wealth or for an organization. When you can do that consistently, it bodes well for rings.
Who are those 2 guys you found?
Well, I found Nick Ballard back in the day, and then Alex Singleton, who is like one of the top tacklers out of Montana State. Corey Littleton, who was right in our backyard. He made the Pro Bowl. He had 3 talent position, Sam, Mike, Will, rush edge, and he was going to kill it on special teams. And then a couple of years ago, I found Dre Greenlaw and Max Crosby in the same draft. And those guys turned out pretty well.
Yeah, they've kind of worked out well. Are you going to do that? You kind of hinted it on social media the other day. You're going to start looking at guys in the draft. So is that process started for you already? And are you going to put that up anywhere that we can find it or listen to it?
Yeah, I'll do it. We could do a recap, here on any positions that you and your loyal following wants to know more about. I'll usually do the top guys, and I'll save my list of the gems because that's my IP. That's what I see and how I find it. But yeah, I'll absolutely break down the top guys, linebackers. I'm going to have to get on offensive line because I feel like that's really where we're going to go, early and probably often this
I would
this
hope
draft.
so. I would, Jim, I'm advocating for drafting all 11 offensive linemen.
All 11 offensive linemen.
Just all.
You got to find 2 or 3 starters out of that, right?
Yeah,
I'm with you on
it's
an odds and probability game. I like that.
Yeah.
That approach.
So you're thinking, I saw Rob Staten's mock draft. He's got a Bama guard, Tyler Booker, going to the Seahawks at 18. And he said that he could be the next Steve Hutchinson. I mean, it just seems like everybody, if they don't take a lineman with that first pick, then everybody's going to be like, well, what the hell are they doing? Because that was the weakest part of the team. And yet you always say best position available regardless when it's time to draft. And you never know with Schneider what he's going to do.
Yeah, We definitely need some interior help, and possibly another tackle. Abe is amazing. Just the injury bug, man. That poor guy, and he battles through it. But at some point, you have to get some more guys. So yeah, I don't know if I haven't seen Booker yet, so I don't want to speak on something I haven't seen or witnessed. But I'd imagine there's a couple guys, and especially all these drafts are getting deeper with players because guys are staying for the 4 years and sometimes 6 years. I don't know, that's like all the quarterbacks, Dr. Nix, Dr. Penix, and Dr. Daniels from last year.
Correct.
About 25 years old. So, and I think just strategically, you have to think about that. It's like, okay, at certain positions, I can only really maybe give this guy a 2 or 3 year contract after his rookie contract because he's already at 30. So, that's the things that I would factor in as I draft these guys. There's some, they're older. They could play right away, probably a little more mature now. But when they get to 30, that price drastically decreases. So now, like, you can't make the emotional commitment like, hey, like, you're our guy. They better be one of the greatest leaders you ever had, like a Bobby Wagner, to get that kind of love financially.
Yeah. Hey, last thing for you, Lofa, real quick. Thoughts on Kubiak?
I like it. I like the hire. Especially the background. I always talked about this. If I were ever to go back into coaching, I'd like to be an offensive coach because I look at defenses and I just know how to pick them apart. And I know you can't scheme for a championship, but I know how to exploit their weakness and just attack. And I feel like with all the analytics, we've gotten away from this, and especially with how brilliant a lot of these offensive minds are. It's like, okay, in theory, that sounds great, but the smart play is, like, if you're Detroit and Ben Johnson, Jahmyr Gibbs averaging 10 yards a carry. If you're into numbers, look down and see 10 per carry and say, hey, that's a first down per carry. Why don't we just keep giving him the ball? Right? And just times it's haunted us too, where we were doing well in the first half, and now they go into the half and they have time to adjust to every single run that broke and just say, hey, this is what we're going to do. And then, okay, we do try to run the second half, but it's too late. Like, you should have got all those yards and touchdowns in the first half to give you a better chance. And then the second half, that's when you open it up. Like, they're gearing up for the run. Okay, now we're going by them.
Okay. Hey, I want to say thank you for doing this all year long during the football season. I know we're going to catch up during the offseason a little bit more, especially when we get around the draft. But the Lofa Tatupu Show, again, brought to you by 1937 Farms, also Savage Brewing Company, and the All Day Podcast. Go check out that wherever you find your podcast. Lofa, thanks for doing it. We had fun. It was a blast having you on.
I love joining the show. So happy to do it anytime, and you guys take care.
Okay.
Thanks, Lofa.
See ya. There he is, Lofa Tatupu. Again, go check out his all-day podcast, wherever you find your podcast and your favorite podcast platforms. Also, 1937 Farms, and, of course, Savage Brewing Company. Lofa Tatupu with us throughout the football season on Fridays. That will be part of the Daily Puck Drop up later on YouTube and also on all your favorite podcast platforms. So thank you for him joining us throughout the season. And we'll talk to Lofa also, as I mentioned, leading up to the NFL draft.
I didn't know that he did so much draft coverage too, and finding those players. And so I think you're right, though. He'd be valuable on a coaching staff for sure. Yeah.
When's your first mock draft 1.0 coming out? You got that? Is that on the News Tribune? Is that Jim Moore, Substack.com go-to guy? Is it on the Kitsap Sun? Is it on the Bend Valley Daily? Where's 1.0 coming out?
Yeah, well, I'm working on it as we speak. That's what I got up really early this morning, crack of dawn, to look into that. And,
yeah,
I mean, in addition to the Alabama guard that Rob Staten has pointed out, I mean, there's players everywhere that could help the Seahawks. And I'm doing a shallow dive on all of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll have that out for you.
You have your Senior Bowl notes yet from Mobile?
No, I don't. But you know what amazes me, to be serious for just half a second? Rob Staten how does he have time for his kids and wife? With what he's doing with the Premier League over there, because he's a broadcaster doing all of that. I follow him on Twitter. And then when he breaks down not only the Seahawks' needs, and his mock draft isn't just, the guys that are slackers just do the first round. He does 3 rounds. I mean, come on. Rob, I marvel at the guy. I love
want him to take some time off. You don't need to work so hard.
No, he's amazing. He really is amazing, and he's so thorough with what he does. And Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to have a mock draft. I used to like doing them for the NBA, though.
Yeah,
kind of
although
fun
I
back
don't
when was
like
covering
his,
the Sonics.
and I've told him I don't like his love affair with Quinn Ewers. Maybe I shouldn't call it a love affair, but he really likes Quinn Ewers, and I just
Well, yeah, but
I'm
it's just like, Puck. You and I
was
and I
out
think
on
others.
Jaden Daniels.
No, I know. Jaden Daniels worked out pretty well,
Yes,
and
he
we
did.
didn't think he would that day in Tempe when we knocked him around the field.
No.
And then Cam Ward, we don't think he's going to work out. But look, he's gone over Sanders, and he might be drafted 1 overall or 2 or 3.
The funny thing is I like Sanders. Some people are down on him. I like Shedeur Sanders.
Well, how did Ward flip flop ahead of him? Wasn't the earlier prognosticators had Sanders ahead of Ward?
Yeah, I don't know. Just maybe I don't know. Maybe he's got a bigger arm. I don't know. Maybe I no clue.
And then not only was there a flip flop there, but Sanders seems to have dropped well down the first round.
Well, maybe
Rob has him going 21.
Yeah, maybe it's just dealing with Dion. I don't know why the Dion thing would be a factor. I don't really get that. He's not coaching in the NFL. He's in college. So what you don't have to answer for Dion. He's a college coach. Be like, I'm a head coach. I don't need to listen to you. You just be a dad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I was surprised to see Rob had Sanders at 21. That seems, somebody will overdraft him higher than that, I would think.
So getting back to the World Series move yesterday that they made, Mariners made with Jorge Polanco. And by the way, Chris Egan's going to join us coming up in a little bit, and you're going to stick around for Chris Egan. Okay, you're going to stick around for Chris Egan. We have Friday voicemails as well. We have 2 of them. You're going to hear from Tom Brady, and you're going to hear from Jim's wife.
Okay, great.
And also, I made a bet yesterday with our listeners. I made a bet yesterday with the listeners, or with the viewers, consumers, whatever we want to call them, and that I would buy them a round of beers at Mike's Chili Parlor if the Mariners don't spend all their money. Because remember, they had $15 million to spend. And at that point, they had only spent about $4 million before Polanco. So they'd have $11 million left.
What'd they pay Solano?
Like $3 million, and then they have another something left over from the other guys they acquired via trades. But it's like $4 million. They've spent $4 million of 15. So they had $11 million left over.
No, wait a minute. Aren't they giving Polanco 7.75?
You're not listening to. Can you just?
No, well, shit. I only, what do you expect, man? I'm not going to fully listen to you because half the shit that comes out of your mouth is, you're full of it. So go ahead, one more time for me.
I'm going to say it for the 3rd time.
Go ahead.
See if you can understand for the 3rd time.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to do it really slow for you.
Okay, go ahead.
They spent $4 million before Polanco.
Oh, okay, before Polanco.
Yeah,
okay.
Okay. Are we?
Okay, so how much do we have left now?
Can you hear me?
Fuck off, man. You sounding like my wife now.
That's what I want. That's the reaction I want.
I don't need that.
Before Polanco signing yesterday, they had $11 million left. So I made a bet yesterday with the listeners. If they don't spend all the money, then I'll buy them a round of drinks at Mike's Chili Parlor. Now, the Polanco deal is $7.7 million. But with incentives, if he hits it, will boost to over 11, almost like 11.2 or 11.3 million dollars. So then they'll reach the goal. But we won't find out until the season is over. So technically, they still haven't spent all the money.
But they still could between now and spring training.
Yes, but they're close. So we're just going to base it on, so round it up, right? It's 7.75 million. We'll round it up to 8. So they've got to spend $3 million more, and then I'm off the hook. If they don't spend $3 more million, I've got to buy a round of drinks.
Yeah. All right.
I might do it.
You don't have that many listeners anyway, so it won't cost you that much.
No, it won't. It's not going to. Exactly right. So this isn't going to cost me a lot because there's barely F you.
What? Well, fair game. You're going to rip me. Oh, you never listen.
Well, I had to explain it 3 different times. And
no, it was just twice. It was just twice.
I don't understand. They've already spent the money. That's why I said before.
Hey, wait till you're 67 there, Pudgy.
Hey. There's no reason I didn't make it.
Wait till you're 67. Things don't come as quickly as they used to.
I don't think one's physical stature has anything to do with listening.
Hey, Pudgy.
Jeez.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. You're big boned.
Husky.
Your mother told you were big boned.
Husky,
Jason, you are big boned.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. You're fine. It's just big boned and husky. So, but I think they're close enough that again, I mean, think about what if they don't spend the other $3 million?
Well, yeah. So you'll have to wait until October before you pay off the bet.
No. If the season starts and they haven't spent the other $3 million, then I have officially lost the bet. I'm not going to let the incentives kick in because the incentive is not part of the deal. They didn't really. It's just added on.
Okay. You got an asterisk on the bet?
Well, yeah, because you'd have to wait till the end of the season. So if they don't spend it, then I'll buy a round of drinks.
Yeah.
Fine, it's all good.
Okay. Just as an aside, if the Seahawks traded Geno, I know this. We're talking about Polanco and the Mariners.
Okay.
But if they traded Geno, then what do you do at quarterback?
What do you do at quarterback if you trade Geno Smith? I don't. Maybe they go after Sam Darnold. Maybe Klint Kubiak thinks Kirk Cousins is the right guy at $1.1 million.
I saw that. Who'd you talk to about that with Michael Sean yesterday about Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, both Dugar and Garofolo. Garofolo from the floor of Dulles Airport being harassed and hounded by some woman sitting a foot away from him, eating pizza while dipping it in ranch. So, yeah.
I've never seen that before.
Disgusting.
Pretty bad.
But I wonder why we're, obese country.
Pizza and ranch.
Yeah.
Now, did she fold the pizza the correct way?
I did not see that, but no, she didn't fold it like you fold it.
Yeah. And I saw on one of those days where you were, short on information for the show that you were talking about pineapple on a pizza.
Yeah, and?
Well, what'd you come up with? Your scientific study.
You didn't. So what do you mean? Did you watch the show and listen to it?
No, I just saw one of your tweets.
Oh,
yeah.
So you don't know what's in response to.
No, but I'll weigh in if you want. I love pineapple on pizza.
No.
The Jay Berry's special, try that sometime. We're at Issaquah Highway, Jay Berry's there. Good spot for pizza.
It had nothing to do whether or not I like pineapple on pizza. There's a pizzeria in London, England, that is so fed up that people are ordering pineapple on their pizza. They don't like it. They don't want to do it anymore. They think it's wrong. You shouldn't have pineapple on a pizza. So they are charging £100 for anyone that orders the large pizza. £100, which is $123, to discourage people from ordering the pineapple pizza.
Well, that's a great promotion for their business, but why would they care about that? Why wouldn't they just order more pineapple just to please their customers?
Because they feel that pineapple doesn't belong on pizza. And they want to stop serving it.
Yeah, so I don't know who the first guy was that said, "Hey, I'm going to throw some pineapple on my pizza tonight," but I'm glad he did because I like it.
I don't mind it. I don't mind. I haven't had it in a while, but I'm not against it. Not against it.
Yeah. No, yeah. If it's on a menu, on a pizza menu, I'll usually get that one.
Yeah.
Just because of the pineapple.
So it's your go-to. So the ham and pineapple is your go-to order.
Yeah, I like the Hawaiian pizza.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can call it that anymore. That may offend somebody. I'm not sure. Seriously, I don't know.
Yeah, very well could. You're right.
All right, so here's the lineup. How many games is that lineup going to win? Cal Raleigh, Luke Raley at first, Dylan Moore at second, JP at short, Polanco at third, Rosarina in left, Julio in center, Robles in right, your DH, the Mitches, and Solano. How many games does that team win?
Well, and then did you see Adam Jude had the lineup, the batting order? Robles leading off, Julio, Cal, Randy Rosarina being your cleanup hitter, Raley, and then that DH combination of Solano and the Mitches hitting, sixth, Polanco seventh, Moore eighth, JP ninth. JP ninth, that's where he needs to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many
lineup's not going to win that many games.
How many wins? How many wins with that lineup?
Well, with that pitching they have, I'll go 81 and 81.
81 and 81.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, look at the pitching.
Well,
and then look at the park they're pitching in.
Okay.
And what do you have it at? 79? I mean, it's not that surprising that I went with 81.
Yeah, no, I know. I thought 79.
I mean, 79 and 83, 81 and 81.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be.
I'm with you though. I mean, and not to jinx them or anything, but they were luckier than hell that they didn't have any injuries in that rotation last year to speak of.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, Wu was out for a while. Who else? Somebody was out for a little while.
Well, Kirby had something. No, I'm just blanking on. I'm going to look it up, but Kirby had something that he was dealing with that he had maybe missed a start or two, or at least they pushed it back.
Yeah.
Wu was the main one.
Yeah. I got to hand it to Jerry though, and I hate handing it to Jerry because I don't like him personally. But the fact that he didn't trade Castillo suggests that, well, okay, number one, we couldn't get enough for him. And then number two, I like that he didn't trade him and just say, because if I'm Jerry DiPoto, I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, I can't believe I still have my job. I got to do something here. I'm going to take a flyer, and it might not be quite enough in what we're going to get in return for Luis Castillo, but I'm going to do it anyway to try and bolster the offense, and then I'll just bullshit my way through the press conference.
Maybe they just, there could be a lot of factors there. Maybe they don't want to trade him. They don't have to trade him. There's no reason they had to trade him, but maybe they just weren't blown away by any of the offers. If that Boston report was true for the Cassis, Tristan Cassis, and then Boston wanted them to take on the money of the outfielder, he's like, well, no. And then Jude had the report that they just said that, whether you believe them or not. I mean, I believe what Adam is writing. Whether you believe the organization, they just said, we just don't think he's a good fit for T-Mobile. So if he's not a good fit, then why would you give up one of your best starting pitchers for him?
No, well, because he makes $24 million.
Yeah, but I mean, Jude and others just don't think it's a salary dump. Now, I push back and disagree a little bit on that, but that's okay. I mean, I think part of the reason they would get rid of him is because of the money. I mean, listen.
I'm glad they're keeping him, though. I mean, he's come down a little bit. He's not the premier guy that he was maybe a year or two ago. Gives up too many home runs.
He did not have as bad as a season everyone thinks last year.
It's amazing to me, though, when I watch him out there. He looks so effortless and he looks so unhittable at times, and then all of a sudden the ball's leaving the ballpark. It's crazy that he gives up as many home runs as he does with the stuff that he has.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think if you go back and you look at his game logs, it was like it felt to me like it was a few starts that he was really, maybe not all that great, and then other than that, it was kind of solid Castillo. But
I don't think he's the day one starter this year. Do you?
No, I mean, I think that's probably Gilbert.
Yeah, I mean, do you drop Castillo to 3?
Oh, Jim, when they start doing all that, right, and you start once
isn't
you
that
get
what we're
through.
Supposed to, isn't that what we're supposed to talk about in sports radio?
But
though?
Once you get through the first, turn, it doesn't really matter anymore. I mean, like, how would they position it to start the season?
I know, but just play along.
Okay,
Jesus
I'm gonna
Christ.
play along. I'm gonna play along. I like to play along.
Come
We're gonna
on.
play. Let's play. Kirby, or excuse me, probably I would say it's Gilbert. Kirby, Castillo, then Miller Wu or Wu Miller.
God, you could almost make a case, though, at Castillo at 5 if you wanted to. I mean, you couldn't be argued out of the bar by saying Castillo's your 5th best pitcher at this point.
Fair. Yeah,
I mean, you might be wrong by suggesting that, but it's not like crazy. It's not like, Dylan Moore is going to be MVP of the league this year saying something like that.
Do you think he'll be the MVP of the league this year?
It's so funny to me because we all love. There's not a single person alive that doesn't like Dylan Moore.
Oh, we love Willie Bloomquist.
The hard kid, and he's good looking, and boy, he won that utility Gold Glove, and God, he just if you see more of Dylan Moore, you're not going to like him as much as you used to. And if he's going to be your starting second baseman, you're not going to the World Series. I'm sorry, Dylan Moore, nice kid, nice player. Not good enough to be an everyday player, though. He's proven that in his career.
What do you know?
Well, not much. Not much, really. I just say a bunch of shit and hope it sticks to the wall occasionally.
Hey, last 12 starts for Castillo, you got a 3.3 ERA.
That's really good. Yeah.
His first starts were bad. Like he'd give it. Let's see, what was that? Hold on. His first 3 starts of the season, he was terrible.
Well, sometimes he's like Robbie Ray, where he has an inning where he's just like, it's batting practice, but it's rare when that happens.
Yeah. Hey, this has been a long time since we've had him on with us together. But I said, let's just do it today. We'd have no Troy Wins today. I'd like the three of us together. Ladies and gentlemen, the Prince of Puyallup. He is with us every single Friday. Normally just with me. We're asking Jim to stick around. It's Chris Egan. His weekly appearance brought to you by Fat Zach's Pizza. 3 locations in Sumner, Puyallup, South Hill, home of the original No Big Dill Pickle Pizza. Book one of their 3 food trucks for catering, birthday parties, graduations, corporate events. Find Fat Zach's on Facebook, Instagram, and, of course, at fatzachspizza.com. You can follow Chris on Twitter and Instagram, Chris Egan5. Of course, all of his work up at King5 and King5.com. And, of course, Chris joins us from the Limback Lumber Studios. Chris, look who it is. Your good buddy, Jim Moore.
Oh, he looks beautiful. I mean, he's like a fine wine. He just ages so well.
Oh, yeah.
It's great to hear. And Jim, I could use your advice because 2 nights ago I was over at the Hatback Grill, and it was and I didn't see either of you there. Maybe you didn't get the invitation, but it was a media night with Dan Wilson. And all the media, not all the media because you two weren't there, but a lot of the media were there. A little kind of fire up the spring training is coming party, and obviously when you throw free food. Everyone comes, people that have never even been to T-Mobile to cover the Mariners, but they all show up. And it felt to me like The Bachelor, like Dan Wilson was The Bachelor, and we're all trying to get some minutes in with him. And I realized at that point, I would have not made it past round 1 of The Bachelor because it's just not in my nature to just interrupt people. And people were like, oh, Dad, you're the greatest. Talk to me. And it was just media. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to let this come natural when we're at spring training and none of these people are going to be there. And then I'll have my time with Dan Wilson. But I realized at that point, I could not win on The Bachelor because I just don't have it in me to just be so forward like that. But it was a fun night. Dan, I'm excited for Dan. Great guy. Yeah, we'll see. I think if Dylan Moore starts at second base, this is a World Series team, is all I got to say. I mean, I don't know. I haven't listened to any of the podcasts. I just jumped on, but I'm just going to tell you that.
You know what? I'm gonna disagree with you, Egan. I'm looking at you right now. You look trim and fit. You look just fantastic, and you have a great sense of humor. We all know that, and women love that above all else. As a man to have a sense of humor. I think you'd make the finals. You'd get the hometown visit. You'd be bringing the girl home to Puyallup.
If I could get the hometown visit, I think I would get them. I mean, I think I would have a real good chance. You got Barb and Egan. Barb loves to make a good chocolate shake. She still uses the eggs and the malto meal. So I think we'd be fine if we can get the hometown visit. By the way, speaking of my dad, Jim, I'm going to the Great American Sportsman Show at the Puyallup Fair here right after. As soon as this podcast is over. This comes up with the camouflage on, maybe my red Rainier's hat, my flannel. There's going to be me at the Sportsman Show, fishing and hunting all day long.
You got a buck 34 Excalibur over there? Sir, I've never heard of that gun. Oh, no. It's only for the diehard duck hunters.
Oh.
Hey, there's something I want to ask, and it might be, again, I just have inappropriate questions. And you mentioned Dan Wilson. Did anybody say to him, like that? Were you kind of surprised that you weren't just the interim manager based on, I mean, I know you were 21-13, Dan, but do you think you deserve to be the permanent manager going forward? Did anybody ask him that?
That's probably why they didn't invite you, Jim, because I did not hear that question. I was kind of over the guacamole bar for a while people were talking to Dan, and I didn't hear anybody throw that out at him. But
hey,
wait a minute,
Jim, are you aware of this media day that we were not invited to?
Well, yeah, I'm also aware that Jerry DiPoto wasn't there, and neither was Tonto. I don't understand why they weren't there.
Who was there? Dan Wilson. Was John Stanton there?
No, just Dan. And
okay.
then former Mariner reliever Charlie Furbush was there.
The Bush.
Yes, he was there.
I love the full bush.
You know what? He actually revealed something. I thought in the movie Moneyball they mentioned Furbush, and he says that wasn't him. That there was actually another pitcher named Furbush back in the day. So there you go.
That's what you took away from it. from the. Hey, so listen. So this media day that we weren't invited to,
Sure.
I'm a little taken aback that we weren't invited.
Your buddy Ian Furness was there?
Ian, I know who was there. I've seen the pictures,
Okay.
and I was told I had a mole there. So Ian was there. I would assume everyone at the both radio stations were there, right? TV.
I heard Mike Salk was there. Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, a lot of, and then there's a lot of these website people.
A lot of website. Website people were there. Wow.
And I just see
Like
them go to all these events, and I don't
like
even know
who?
the website. I don't even know the names.
Lookout Landing.
Yeah, just a lot of websites.
We have a website, and wonder why we didn't get invited.
I mean, and you got the #1 podcast in America.
Thanks to Kevin Martinez. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Kmart. Thanks
with
for
the
invite.
greatest. Yeah, I know. So maybe if I could just get maybe a pucksports.com T-shirt. I could wear that around. Was
Dan Wilson hugging reporters? That's always my favorite. Was there any hugging of reporters?
I did not see any hugging. I'm gonna protect Dan. I did not see any hugging.
Who was the most that was trying to interrupt others to get in for some time with Dan Wilson?
Well, I thought it honestly was a lot of the producers from some of the TV stations and the radio stations that maybe they don't get out to events much, and they were just trying to really, and I was like waiting kindly for two people, and I'm like, all right, I'm not doing this thing. So we'll get with them down at spring training as we start packing away the polo shirts and.
Come on, will you dish some dirt for God's sakes? We need something.
I mean, what do you want me to say? That they were just, I think a couple of them were maybe a little starstruck with.
Who got overserved?
I went in. The first thing I did, which I was a little disappointed in the PNW media crew, was they were serving Rainier beer. And guess what, Jim? At one point, I was the only member of the media drinking a Rainier beer.
Why?
Was
everybody else like just clean and sober and professional about what they were doing there?
Trying to do the trendy IPAs.
I'm going to tell you right now, you're never going to have a Rainier beer again. This is what you're going to want to have. That is a Georgetown Tavern beer. That is a domestic style lager. But
maybe it wasn't available at the Mariner get together.
I know, I don't think it was, Jim.
Here's the deal, Mariners. It's actually brewed in the state of Washington, unlike Rainier, which is not brewed in the state of Washington.
Are you telling me Rainier beer is not brewed?
It is not made in the state of Washington. I believe it's made in California or Pennsylvania. Tavern beer, domestic style lager. Easy drinking is your beer.
Brewed and beautiful.
Brewed a mile from the stadium.
Hey, you two will love this. I was down in San Diego last weekend watching my new son-in-law, married my daughter, play basketball for Point Loma, supporting my Sea Lions right here with the hat. And we go with my daughter to church on Sunday. And it's 65, and there's some light mist in the air. And at the end of the service, this is the pastor, and I can't even make this up. I mean, place is packed. I swear some of the San Diegoans, I don't even know if that's the right term, are in sweaters and polos because it's 65. But the pastor's like, all right, go out there, everyone. Be good. Serve. Pour out to the world. And it's sprinkling today, so please, be careful out there. Everybody be careful. I'm like going, what? Welcome to Southern California. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Be careful. It's sprinkling.
It was sprinkling.
Now I'm ignorant on this topic, and I'm hoping you can help me out. I might be way off base with it, but I saw some sort of promotion that Puck had on Twitter after interviewing you last week or the week before. And the word vasectomy came up.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And I'm just wondering what that meant. Did it pertain to you, to your son-in-law, to your dog? What?
To make things worse, Jim, that's the clip that, this is when you go on with Puck. You have to be aware that he can take any 20 seconds that you do. This is the media. And here I'm one of the members. And he can put that on Instagram. That's the part he put on Instagram. I had no problem with it. I'm proud of this story, which I'll explain a little bit. But the 3 kids of mine, I got the old text like, Dad, really? Because they live their life on Instagram. So I was fine sharing the story. I'm proud of it. And they were like, Dad, too much. Don't do that, Dad. Basically, Jim, long story short, Ichiro was the story last week. So I was explaining every time I think of Ichiro, I think of my vasectomy. And that's the day he got traded and I got called in. There's a reason why you don't work on that day. And the live shots went well. It was the post live shots where things didn't go well.
Oh, okay. Well, that clears it up. And the reason I asked you is that I thought, is this a recent thing that you had done? And I know that you're in your early 50s, I believe, and I know you're high school sweethearts with your wife, and I'm thinking, well, why in the hell would you need a vasectomy? Maybe you're seeing someone on the side.
No, Jim. It was just, we had 3. We had 3, and we felt like financially 3 was more than enough.
Jeez.
So
well, you're seeing someone on the side here. You got a side piece over there. Hey, Chris, are you willing? Hey, Chris, you willing just to say who that side piece is right now? I mean, because that's what I would have asked if I was there.
No. It did occur to me.
Yeah, it did.
Jim, why wouldn't you? I mean, isn't that when you feel like you've had 3 kids? That's the thing to do. I mean, maybe I'm wrong there.
No. But now I get it. You did it when you were 40.
Yeah.
Bingo. There
he
you
did
go.
it. He did it the day Ichiro was traded, and he had to
That
go.
part was not in the Instagram.
I
The
know.
promo.
I know.
That part was not in there.
He had to go work because Sylvie had another off day. He couldn't work that day.
By the way, yesterday, guys, I'm at Orting High School, and this is one thing I love about the prep zone. There's so many incredible stories out there. We finally go to Orting. This has become title town USA for wrestling.
Orting has?
Orting is going after their 4th state title, team title in a row. They've already won 7. They have not finished lower than 3rd place since 2005. They have 2 kids on the team going for their 4th straight state title, which in the state of Washington has only happened 17 times when you hundreds of thousands of wrestlers, and there's only been 17. They have 2 on this year's team. They have 5 returning state champions. And I was thinking, God, it'd be kind of cool to put a singlet on, for my stand-up, and get out there. And behind scenes, I kind of put one on, and no, this is not happening.
Nah, you should have done it.
Jim, I'm telling you what, it would have been bad TV all the way around. And I'm like, I'm a heavyweight. I'm not these, it would have just looked awful. So I chickened out on that one, didn't do it. So there you
should have done it. Hey, speaking of high school, so they're going for their 4th straight, huh?
Yeah. And they actually have, they're 2A.
Yeah.
And just to tell you how good they are, I think that one of the top teams in 4A is Tahoma, the mayor of Maple Valley, Ian Furness's team, and they beat Tahoma in a dual meet this year. So a little 2A Orting took out Tahoma. Another for your little PNW history, the other really good wrestling program in the state, Toppenish.
Toppenish,
yeah. They wrestled well at Toppenish, so. And I love the Matt Classic, Tacoma Dome. I think that's a pretty cool venue.
Have you seen this story? I saw this yesterday, and I don't know if you saw it. It's out of Spokane. SWX, that television station out of Spokane.
Yep. They do a great job.
You seen this story on this woman, on this girl that plays for Garfield-Palouse basketball, Cadence Keevy? You see her there? Look at that. Look at her. She has half her arm missing.
Wow.
And they've got video. I don't know if you can see the video if I click on it. I can't show you the video. The video of her shooting, Chris, she has got the best jump shot you've ever seen. Hold on. I'm going to see if I can pull up the video of
Where is that? Is that out of Spokane, that high school? I haven't even heard of that.
No, Garfield-Palouse is a town.
Oh, up in, I got you.
It's just right outside of Pullman. You leave Pullman, you go north, you go outside the backside of town, you're driving through Garfield-Palouse. It's just amazing, man.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I was going to see if I could find this video, and I don't know if I can actually play it on here.
Well, you're looking for the video. I do have to. Speaking of the Palouse, what is going on with the Cougars in Pacific, Jim?
I don't know.
How can that team? That was their first conference win since 22-23.
At home.
At home, yeah.
Yes.
And we lost twice to them.
It's the first time they've swept someone since, God knows how long. Here, Yeah, we don't need to talk about them. I don't want to talk about the Cougars.
Okay,
here,
we're ready.
Watch her.
On. Yep.
Now, can you see this video that I'm sharing? Am I sharing this correctly?
I'm looking closely.
Watch her.
Cadence
There we go.
Kibbe
Look
is
at
a
the shot.
baller.
Look at, I mean, she's
So
bearing
she does it all with
threes.
just one arm.
I
Big
mean, I don't
smile on
know
her
what it could ever
face.
be like playing
Just,
with
I mean,
two
it's
arms,
incredible.
but
You
I
gotta-
know that
you gotta
it's
watch
obviously
this
a little
story
bit difficult. I
and
mean,
then
I
read
feel
it.
like
I mean,
I still
she's
fit
got a
in pretty
better
well
jump
and
shot
understand how to do
than
things the same as everyone else
Kids
does,
that have,
which
you
is
know,
good,
both arms,
but
it's amazing.
not
It
much
just,
of a
I
change,
mean,
I'd
talk
say.
about the
Cadence was
perseverance
born
and
with
just
it,
the
so it's nothing new to her.
saying that
And if
I'm
you
not
came to
going
the
to let
Palouse gym to
something
watch
like
her play,
this
her lockdown
get in the
defense
way
and a shining
of me
personality
not being
is what
able
you'd
to,
find.
you know, to
It's
play
tough playing
basketball
offense on her
and
because
to
she
have
just,
fun.
she's
What
always
what
there and
an
like coming at the ball,
inspiration
and
this
you're like,
girl is.
oh no,
It's incredible.
She just kind of brings like a
That's
little
awesome.
happy environment to
Yeah.
us. Like
It's
when
just,
she goes out on the
it's-
court, you can.
I
Tell.
saw
It's,
this
like,
and I
her
was just
defense
floored.
Just brings
Floored
it
about
up.
how
She
good
hustles,
she is
talks, like,
and
she
just
lets
her
us know where she is.
perspective
Defense is
on
definitely her
everything.
strong suit, but she's also like
And this
one
is
of the
the
funniest
stuff,
girls we
Puck,
have
we
on our
need to
team.
see
So she
more and
definitely
more
brings
of.
like
This
a
is a kid, obviously, that has had to work her butt off to get to that point. She's had to work hard, fight through things, and kids need this more than ever. I tell you what, I'm going through this 8th grade season this year, and it's a lot of about me. It's all about, you know, hey, I'm not scoring enough, you know, things like that. And it's like, gosh, I don't think it's the kids. I think they're being fed this from their parents, you know. And it's like, I love these stories because it's just like enough excuses. Just get out there and work. That's what you got to do. If you want to get good, you've got to go out and work. It was like the Orting wrestling team. I said, why are you guys so good? And they're like, hard work, discipline. I mean, they're easy words to say. They're hard words to do, and they do it, and the great ones do it. And but so many people nowadays just want to make excuses, you know, like, hey, Dad, Coach doesn't want to play me.
Right.
All right, let's move you to another school then, buddy.
Yep.
She
had a quote in there, and again, SWX, which is a local TV station in Spokane, by the way, and they do a great job. They do nothing but like local sports, high school. They do college games. I think sometimes Gonzaga's on there, and Eastern Washington. She had this quote in the story, which was it was just great. You guys will love this. Everyone will love this. She asked about, you know, her determination, you know, what her advice is to other people. And she said, quote, "You have to be confident in what you're doing. And you have to know that if you tell yourself you can't, then you won't. You have to just keep telling yourself that if I try, then you have to get better and work harder." Just, I mean.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Confidence.
It's what I'm going to tell. I'm going to share this whole story. You should do it with your team. I'm sharing the video and the whole story with our 2 JV teams today.
I will send it to. By the way, I made a bad coaching move this week earlier in practice, guys. At one point, we were just shooting up everything. I said 5 passes.
Oh, you went Normandale.
I went Normandale. 5 passes before we shoot. And a lot of times, you know this, both you guys from coaching, sometimes you go after your own kid to kind of set the message. And little Luke Egan passes up a wide open shot, and I just lost it. I just like, this is your shot. If you're a shooter, you're going to shoot it. Why are we passing this up? And little Luke Egan, you know, this is where I feel bad, but you learn through coaching, you know, doesn't say a word, you know, just takes it. Drive home. He simply goes, "Hey, Dad." I go, "What?" He goes, "That was pass 3."
If it'd been the 5th pass, I would have shot it, Dad.
That's and I just sunk like
so
oh my
good.
God. I'm like, you're right. I go
Great job, Luke.
Oh man, he also had a pretty good line, and I'm sure he's read this somewhere because I told him once, "You need to follow your shot." He goes, "Good shooters don't follow their shots, Dad.
They know it's going in.
They know it's going in." And I'm like, all right,
fair.
I'm learning from this kid of mine, so it's cool.
Our last basketball practice, you think they had fun in our last basketball practice on Wednesday? We did an hour and 15 minutes just on rebounding.
Blocking out?
Just blocking out. That's all we did. Oh.
I'm thinking about quitting my job at King 5 Sports and just going around as a traveling consultant for blocking out. Because somewhere along the way, I don't know if COVID ended blocking. Did COVID take out blocking out?
Yes,
I'm not quite sure.
COVID got rid of blocking because none of them block out.
Nobody blocks out anymore. I'm just like, I love blocking out. I love rebounding, but nobody wants to rebound anymore. So yeah, I tell my kids, one of you guys rebound, you're gonna be on the varsity team as a freshman because nobody wants to rebound anymore.
Hey, have you congratulated Jim yet? He's got how many more hours? 12 more hours. 12.
Is that
more
what it
hours.
is? Yeah, 12 more hours. Dry January, Egan.
I tell you what,
he's made it,
Jim. Impressive stuff. And Jim, I think it's huge. I actually just went to my doctor and got the old blood chart where they go through everything, and there was a couple on there. Maybe a little less alcohol, Chris. So it's all good and that's why you look so healthy, Jim. You look good.
That was one of the things, though. I've got a few kidney issues and other things, trying to lose some weight, lower the blood pressure. And I don't want to quit forever, though. I don't want to do that, but I just kind of wanted to have it as a checkpoint to see how I'm doing. And it wasn't, for anybody who's thinking about trying it, it's not as hard as you think. It really isn't if you just put your mind to it. And I've always been, a guy with these high goals, and I always try to achieve them. I'm full of shit right now, but with this one, I actually did achieve it.
Well,
hey, Chris.
I mean, you make a point, though. I mean, it's those little things that just add up. Why not help out your kidneys and not have as many drinks? And and I'm the same way. And Puck doesn't want to hear this, but I'm trying to have a dry fast food month where I just stop going to these places because it's so easy. And next thing you know, I got fry sauce and everything all over my shirt, and I'm feel bloated, and I'm just like, I got to stop doing this. So,
well, the other thing, I'm trying to limit my salt and sodium intake. When you start reading labels at the grocery store and you see how much sodium's in everything, it's unbelievable.
How about this, Jim? What I did for the first time, my wife got a cold plunge, and she loves it. So
why do people do that? I don't get it.
It's apparently good for the body. I'm not going to sit here and act like an expert on cold plunging, but this is something that's been done for a long time, and it's really good for your body. That's all I've heard. So the wife's
how cold is the water?
It's 40 degrees is what she keeps it at, and you're supposed to go down there for 3 minutes. Plunge down to 3 minutes. I lasted 1:10, but I tell you what, I didn't even need a coffee that day. Like, I felt like I was just feeling good. So
rocking and rolling.
I'm going to try to do the cold plunge now 3 times a week. I'll report back next week to see how things are going.
Can you tell us how much you shrivel up?
I will.
Could you see it? Did you need a spoon to dig it out?
Something I'm not focused on.
God, you're turning red.
Did you feel like the guy in Silence of the Lambs when he was dancing at the end? When he was tucking.
Another classic movie that a lot of kids around here haven't seen lately is that one.
Silence of the Lambs. Hey, kids, gather around tonight. We'll grab some popcorn and pizza and watch Silence of the Lambs. All right.
Oh,
hey,
God.
let's wrap it up with this.
Okay.
You want to be here for voicemails? You've never been with voicemails.
I love voicemails.
Okay, we got voicemails today.
I was laughing so hard, by the way. I think it was it Melancholy Mike or
Mannequin Mike?
Mannequin Mike.
Stacking wins. We're stacking wins. Okay, hey, listen. You're gonna hear one's probably a little not as loud. Okay, you're gonna hear from Tom Brady's checking in.
Okay. Hey, Puck. Before we get joking, can I get 2 serious things? I just want to shout out.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
I wore the Olympic shirt today.
Yeah.
For the figure skating community. That night I was in pure, just my heart going out. There's a young man that I've been covering, John Luke Baker from Edmonds, Washington. He's been in the Olympics. He was in Wichita. We couldn't find out if he was on the plane or not. He was not on the plane, so John Luke is fine. But my thoughts and prayers to all the family members out there. This is just an awful tragedy, and not only the Olympic athletes, obviously everybody on that plane that lost their life, and then the helicopter. But I personally get to work with a lot of those athletes, and so it's been a tough week, in the Olympic world. And then we won't get too deep into it regarding the Sumner basketball story that was out yesterday, but a shout out at least to the 8 kids that stepped up, went on the stand and testified, and hopefully other kids can see what these 8 kids did. And if something's wrong, please get out there and tell somebody about it, and don't be afraid. So a big shout out to them. So back to having fun, but I had to give a shout out to both of those.
Yeah, no, it's good. They the jury found the ex-Sumner basketball coach guilty on all counts, 19 counts. Jacob Jackson. So he was sentenced. He'll be sentenced on March 20th. And I echo what you said. That takes a lot of courage, from kids, for anyone to stand up, because there's like a lot of fear and shame and backlash, from doing it. Some people, sometimes they don't believe you, think you're making it up, but they did it, and they showed a lot of courage.
They did.
And
they
to
really
put someone behind bar, put a monster behind bars. So
God, just awful. That happened at my high school back in the 80s, and it's just it's awful.
Yeah. It just not good there at all. Next week, I was going to touch on this one because I got it next week when we talk. We had a big Twitter discussion about girls flag football for some reason this week on Twitter.
Okay.
And it was great. It was good. It was people making points back and forth, and then some athletic directors were checking in about, the numbers were down in certain sports, and they're fearful that they would cause that. So I want to table that for next week. So voicemails. Okay, we got two of them. One is the first one's Tom Brady's checking in, and then Jim's wife is checking in.
Oh.
Get to hear from Kathy Moore.
I can't wait.
Yes. Now the picture of her the picture is not really her, by the way. So keep that in mind. All right, here we go. Tom Brady, Friday voicemails.
Hey guys, it's Tom, Insightless Brady. Yes, your Fox analyst for the Super Bowl. I tell you, I don't know any insights. In fact, I wouldn't know an insight if my wife was cheating on me with it. But I'm going to do the Super Bowl in front of 100+ million people, and Kevin Burkhardt's going to ask me, hey, you've been in 9 and you've won 7. What's it like? And I will give him the blank stare that I've been giving everybody this entire season and give him absolutely zero insights and nothing to work with. But I'm getting 37 milli, and I look really good on TV.
What do we think of Tom Brady, fellas, as a broadcaster?
Well, first off, I do want to say not quite family watching, but if you have not seen the Tom Brady roast yet and you're looking for a laugh one night, please just jump on and
it's very good.
Yeah. Oh God, it's hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious.
Do we find him annoying? Do you guys like Tom Brady as a broadcaster?
I haven't heard him enough. I hear he's gotten better, but it was a low bar to start with.
Yes, and he was very smart. I think in that way, Jim. I still remember his first game, and both of my boys were like, God, he's awful. And now, I mean, he's got better. I mean, he definitely has got better. I think this is a guy that he likes to win, and he probably figured out, okay, I wasn't good, and probably had a lot of people tell him he wasn't good. So he's figured out how to get better. So I think he's on the road to improvement. I will say that. I'll just say that.
Chris, is he better than Craig Elo on the Cougar basketball broadcast?
Yeah, yes, he is. Yes. He's better.
Okay, good.
I should have tuned in last night to, instead of watching that, just the final 4 minutes to get the wisdom from Craig of how we lost again to a terrible basketball team.
Oh,
come on, do your Craig Elo. Come on.
Yeah, well, Chris, I got the Cougars. They just have a problem. Playing Pacific, man. Chaz. I mean, Chris. God,
guy is a Cougar legend.
I love Craig Elo as a basketball player, but I don't want to hear him doing basketball broadcasts anymore. I'm sorry.
Guy is a Cougar legend. All right.
Can't they get Greg Heister to come down and do those games too?
Oh, my God.
With the fake hair.
Hey, welcome to Beasley. It's not the kettle. It's not the kettle. Hey, did I tell you I was having lunch with Dan Dickow the other day? I was having drinks with Mark Few. He drove. I didn't because I had too much to drink, even though he had a pitcher and a half.
Oh, Casey Calvary.
Oh, Calvary. Oh, the Calvary is coming home. There's nothing like Adam Morrison.
And hey, here he comes, Dan Dickow.
Oh, take a step back, Blake Step.
Rudy Turia.
Ring the bell for Greg Bell downtown.
And you give me a hard time for ripping Elo?
Hey, Greg, we're calling a Cougars game against UCLA right now. Yeah, but did you see the Zags play last night?
I was fishing Curlew Lake with Mark Dew as we were tying our flies, and then I was
Curlew Lake. Oh, God. Oh, beautiful
Go Zags!
Go Zags!
Oh, the
all right.
team.
Craig Heister.
All right, get going, Puck. I already had a housekeeper coming in here wondering if I was checking out. Checkout's at 11.
Oh, checkout was at 11?
Yeah.
All right, last.
Why don't they give you till noon anymore? God, these hotels, what the hell?
Okay, I'm sorry.
What are you doing? Your podcast by the hour? What?
Yeah. Last voicemail is from Jim's wife. Uh-oh. Hold on.
Jim's wife, and I know I can swear, and he always does, unfortunately, but all I wanted to know was if he liked the eggshell white or the other white. And when I asked him, he said it doesn't matter. But then I said, well, let me know what you think. And then he said, well, I really like the eggshell white. And then she's like, actually, I'm feeling this other color is better. And then he told me, well, I like that. And then I was like, you're just trying to agree with me so that I'll just put up whatever. I really want to know what you're feeling.
That sounds about Jim's wife. That was, Chris, that was from last week because they got an argument, or this week an argument about what they're going to paint in the inside of their house.
I mean, I hate to say it sounds like every wife. I mean, they all want to know what you think, and they already know what they're going to do. I mean, I don't know why they ask. I really don't. Like, you really
there were different shades of white, Egan, and one was warmer than another. And I basically came down to like, why even ask me? Because you're going to go with the color that you like better than whatever one I like.
Wonderful.
Yeah. No, we've all been there, Jim. I mean, I got a throw blanket on my bed now. I don't even know what we're doing with that.
Hey, this was fun. Thanks for sticking around longer, Jim. I know Chris appreciates it. Say hello to the maid, the cleaner for the hotel. Sorry,
we can't say maid anymore. Come on.
What are you supposed to say?
It's flight attendant, not stewardess.
Well, what's a maid? Like, what do you say now?
Housekeeper.
Okay.
Executive home stylist.
Executive home stylist. All right, Chris. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
You guys need anything at the Sportsman Show while I'm heading down there?
Yeah. Some, some buckshots. Give me a pick. All you're gonna do is buy more camo. That stuff that you're never gonna wear. That's the best part.
And I love getting the 2 feet long beef jerky sticks.
Oh, who doesn't?
Pepperoni sticks. Yeah.
Who doesn't? All right. See you, Chris.
Take care, Chris.
Jim, have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you on Monday. All right.
All right, Puck. Sounds good. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs. Safe travels back to Bend.
Okay, take care, man.
There he goes. All right, Chris Egan joining us every Friday. Big thanks to Chris and Jim for sticking around for Egan. I knew you guys would like that. I'd like to get them both on together if we can squeeze it in a little earlier so we don't have to keep Jim as long because he's got stuff to do. Chris's weekly visits brought to you by, again, and big thanks to a great pizzeria down in the South End, Fat Zach's Pizza, 3 locations in Sumner, Puyallup, South Hill, home of the original No Big Deal Pickle Pizza. Book one of their 3 food trucks today. Also follow Chris on Twitter and Instagram, Chris Egan 5, and all of his work and King5 and King5.com. And of course, Jim, he joins us on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Brought to you by A Clean Streak, a professional window exterior cleaning service. All right, before we wrap it up, hey, what the puck? Which is brought to you by our good friends at Restoration One of North Seattle, is your local company that lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services. Locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when those damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917, or visit them online at restoration1.com, North Seattle franchise. We'll get into this more next week with Egan, but a big topic, at least for me, and I mentioned this before about flag football, and we were talking about something that happened in Mississippi this week where they've approved flag football for girls to be recognized, the true varsity recognized sport by the state. We haven't recognized it yet here in Washington State. We're going to get it probably recognized soon. There's going to be another vote coming up in the spring. There's been some pushback on. There's been a lot of reasons of pushback, whether field use, and one of them has been now in the winter about there's been some schools, I think it's been taking place in the Kinko, where girls are not turning out for basketball anymore, and they're playing flag football instead. There's always going to be an issue. There's always going to be, you're going to pull kids from one sport to another. We've seen it here in our own community. Eastside, you've probably seen it more than anyone. It has affected the Seattle area here probably in the last 3 to 4 years, where kids were baseball kids, good baseball kids too, who have turned to lacrosse. And you're like, it stinks. I wish you could still play baseball because they play at the same time, and you can't really play both. But you know what? I say, well, that's too bad. But if you like that sport, fine. I mean, just play a sport, play anything. And then that opens the door for maybe somebody else who didn't play baseball. Now they can play baseball. And I guess I would say the same thing for any coaches or athletic directors that are worried about losing girls to high school basketball, or from high school basketball to flag football, is it opens up a door for another kid to maybe have an opportunity to play. And this is what I would stress to maybe the high school coaches more than anything. Don't just become obsessed with the kids that are in the AAU and travel and club sports that they have to play year round. And if you're one of these coaches that double dips on both, and then and I know this happens, you threaten the kids that if they don't come out to the travel ball team during the summer, well, playing time is going to be hard in the fall or in the winter. Don't do that. Don't threaten them. I hear this all the time from these coaches that are in club sports, how every coach stresses being a multi-sport athlete. Until that kid can't come to a practice or a game because they're playing another sport, and then that coach is like, from the other sports, going, hey, if you're not here, you're not going to start or play. Well, wait a minute, hands up. I thought you said it's important to be a multi-sport athlete now. But now you want to flip it back and say, because I'm not here at soccer on time, I missed a practice because I was playing basketball, which is technically the season right now, I don't get to play, or whatever sport it is. Like, that's just not right. Nothing about that is right. We'll have more on that next week with Egan. But I think the biggest problem with this whole thing is just the specialization of it, but then also coaches could do a better job of it, just allowing everybody to play all these different sports. More kids involved playing sports is the best thing. Gets them off the electronics, keeps them out of trouble, all that kind of stuff. Whether it's sports, it doesn't have to necessarily even be sports. It can be any club, right? Chess club, theater, music, whatever. All right. Hey, What the Puck, brought to you by Restoration 1 in North Seattle. Give them a call, 206-817-8917. Visit them online at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. Full show up on YouTube later. When you're there, please subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. I'll try to get to as many as I can. Also, full show will be on all the podcast platforms, your favorite podcast platforms, whatever it is. One full show up there today. And, of course, you can find everything up at pucksports.com. All right. Thank you. Hopefully you appreciated this week of shows. Love having you on. Love talking to you guys every single week. Always a Friday is a fun show as well. We'll talk to you on Monday. Have a great weekend. As always, promise to be better.
No shoes, no dice.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for? We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!